Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second installment in this new series called Trouble in the Americas, where we are going to be going over Venezuelan military assets. And in this video, we are going to be going over the Peykaap III missile boat, right? Here's some quick history. These boats were acquired pretty recently from Iran. Venezuela wants to recreate the way that Iran projects power with a large amount of small, fast attack craft and fast inshore attack craft style boats. This design is based on the North Korean IPS-16 fast attack boat, and Venezuela plans to use these to gain influence in that Panama Canal region. Alright, this boat displaces 13.75 tons and is powered by two diesel engines that push out 2,400 horsepower to one propeller. The Peykaap III needs three crew members to operate it, and the vessel carries two missiles, and it's capable of also carrying torpedoes and 12.7mm machine guns. The length is 57 feet, the beam is 12 feet, has a draft of 2 feet 4 inches with a top speed of 60-ish miles per hour, which, in my opinion, is what's really important about this boat, minus the missiles, but that speed's a big deal. Alright, let's talk about the first missile, the Kosar. At least that's what I'm going to pronounce it as. Alright, it's got a weight of 220 pounds. The length is 2.5 meters. The diameter is 0.18 meters. Has a wingspan of 0.587 meters with the wings unfolded. That's very specific. And the warhead is very small, 29 kilograms, and it's semi-armor piercing, high explosive. Do take note that there's other variants with bigger warheads. So the operational range of this thing is 11 nautical miles with a speed of 0.8 Mach. That's not fast. This missile does not fly very far. Alright, the Nazar. This thing weighs 771 pounds, so it's considerably larger. It's got a length of 3.5 meters with a diameter of 0.28 meters and a wingspan of 0.9 meters, and it has a semi-armor piercing high explosive warhead. Operational range of 19 nautical miles and a speed of 0.8 to 0.9 Mach. Both these missiles are subsonic. They're very slow. This thing's only got a slightly farther range. That's kind of by design. So, hey Frank, why is this boat important? Like, why do you care? It just seems like some small little boat shooting some slow missiles. Well, these are important for Venezuela because they project power. More platforms that can fire missiles are better for Venezuela. And if Venezuela gets enough boats like this, they'll be able to deploy swarm tactics against the United States Navy. It also signifies the military alliance between Venezuela and Iran. I mean, they're past just being kind of cool with each other. They're just in a military alliance. Iran is giving Venezuela boats that are capable of firing missiles and doing damage to, United States assets. And really, the most importantly is these are cheap and they're relatively easy to maintain platforms, which is really important due to Venezuela's economic issues. Venezuela will not be able to fight the United States Navy in like a traditional, conventional type of naval engagement where they've got destroyers and they've got aircraft. They need to rely on some more asymmetric warfare, tactics, which are these swarm tactics. So, is it a threat? Long story short, yes, it can carry missiles, and I think anything that carries missiles is a big deal. Anyone can get lucky. If you're a football guy or girl, I mean, you know the saying, any given Sunday, right? The worst team can go out there and they can beat the best team. And the missiles, they aren't as big as some larger ship launched missiles, but they can still rain on someone's parade, right? I know if I was on a Navy vessel, I would not want to get hit even by the smallest missile because there's a chance that, it knocks something important out and then, bang, your mission killed. So does Venezuela have these boats in enough numbers to pose a real serious threat? More than likely, right now, no. But they definitely have a decent amount of these pay caps, and they could totally cut off and surround an out-of-position warship. But the USN has helicopters, 25mm guns, other aircraft, 5-inch guns, our own missiles, and more that can deal with these boats. Not to mention how grossly outranged the missiles on the Peykaps are, right? We can shoot missiles that go unfathomable amounts, just of distance. These things, I mean, the one 11 nautical miles is within eyesight, right? So, little visual aid out there, right? These little triangles, yellow triangles, are the pay caps. This big square is a CDCM site that can fire missiles. Just an example, if a ship's out of place or if it's by itself somewhere and it's kind of close to the shore, which is that little brown semicircle we got going on there. These things got a speed of 60 miles an hour. They could zoom out there, surround it. Let's say Venezuela wants to surprise attack the United States Navy. Bang, you've got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven little boats shooting at you. And then you've got a CDCM site shooting a way larger missile at you. Hey, there's a really good chance right there that something could slip through, right? That's why I think they're a threat. They give Venezuela another capability, in that harassing department, right? In conclusion, these small but highly agile and fast missile boats will add another layer of complexity to a potentially kinetic situation. The Peykaap III allows Venezuela to have a very cost effective platform that is low maintenance, which is capable of firing missiles at U.S. naval assets. They have the speed to exploit out of position vessels or harass ships in general. But I think in a weapons free environment for the USN, Venezuela likely does not have enough of these boats to make a huge difference. Now, if they had 100, 200, 300, and they just let the dogs out on like a US ship or two, or maybe, hey, let's say something crazy here and say the United States, actually does just put a bunch of ships up to shore and starts, putting Marines on the beach. These things are a problem. They got to be dealt with first, right? They kind of deny that kind of operation, right? Here's what I would think is going to happen, or will happen if something popped off with these little boats and the U.S. Navy. If you have heard of Operation Praying Mantis, they launched some boats like this against the U.S. Navy, and what happened? We launched aircraft at them. They hit the little boats with cluster bombs. They sunk or damaged them, and they kind of just went away. Imagine that now, but with guided munitions that can, drop right down your chimney. Matter of fact, we don't even need to imagine that because we're doing that to these drug smuggling boats. It would look just like that. They would just blow up and cease to exist. That's what I think. Here's the big reference that I used. This video is kind of this article, at least my interpretation of it. I wish this thing the best of luck if it ever has to fight against the United States Navy. The three dudes on that boat, dude, I'm praying for you. You're probably not going to have a nice time. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you liked me for some reason, hit that subscribe button, and have a nice day.